As is customary on Nowruz, the Persian New Year, Iran's new supreme leader, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei, has issued a message in which he declared that Iran has dealt its enemies a dizzying blow in its war with the US and Israel. He also said that Iran was not behind recent attacks on Oman and Turkey. That message airing on Iranian state television. Well, for more, I'm joined now in the studio by our international affairs editor, Andrew Hillier. Hi, Andrew. Would you talk us through some of the main takeaways that came out of Khamenei's statement just about an hour ago?
Yeah, that's right. So this was only his second address to the nation since he was chosen as supreme leader. This is a written statement attributed to Mojtaba Khamenei, read by a presenter on state television. There was no footage of Mojtaba Khamenei. Of course, we haven't seen footage of Khamenei since the start of the war. It was longer and more detailed than the first message that had been also read out on state television. And he really focused on a few key points that I'll just go over now. So for a start, he called the Persian New Year the year of a resistance economy under national unity and national security. And those themes there, he repeated them several times throughout this statement. So the themes of resistance, national unity, national security. That's the message he was really trying to get across to Iranians. He said that national unity was an essential precondition to continue resistance. And also something interesting, Haxi, is that he really tried to focus on people as well. He said, I'm listening to your conversations in taxis. I'm listening to your conversations in public squares. Essentially, he's trying to build these ties with the public because he is also an invisible figure at this stage. So what I think he's trying to do here is use this speech to really establish his image amongst Iranian people. That's why this was a message of reassurance that the leader is present, while also drawing those broad outlines that I mentioned to try and encourage Iranians to resist.
Now, in this message, Khamenei also reached out to a number of Iran's neighbours. What's he trying to do here?
Yeah, well, that was another key theme of his statement, reaching out to Iran's neighbours. And, of course, this has to be placed, and I'll come back to this, in the context of attacks on Gulf countries. So one of the first things he did was that he denied that Iran had been behind attacks in Turkey and Oman. He also called for greater ties with neighbours such as Afghanistan and Pakistan, and then kind of really emphasised things he said that Iran had in common with its neighbours, like Islam and the same strategic interests. He said that he firmly believed in strengthening ties with neighbouring countries, also arguing that Iran's enemies were trying to drive a wedge between Tehran and its neighbours. And again, as I said before, this really does have to be placed in the wider context of Iran's ongoing attacks against its neighbours, in particular against its the Gulf countries. We saw more attacks today, and these are attacks that Tehran has stepped up, of course, particularly after the South Pars offshore natural gas field was attacked on Wednesday. So this statement, for those Gulf countries at least, is unlikely to reassure them as long as those attacks continue.